Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to Travel Talk Tuesday. It is September the 7th, 2021. And gosh, I cannot believe we're in the 9th month of this year. It's just so crazy and amazing. But luckily, things are opening back up and all over the world. Travel is getting back to somewhat near a new normal, let's say. So we're kind of looking forward to that. I'm flying on Thursday night to tomorrow, that would be not tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, on Thursday night to go to Dallas. And we have a travel and adventure show over the weekend in Dallas. And that means that we're promoting our tours for a bunch of people coming into a convention center looking for travel opportunities for 2022 and beyond. So Charlotte and I will be there promoting those on Saturday and Sunday. And then on Monday of next week, I get on a plane and fly to Rome, and we begin two tours. We begin a villa tour in Volterra, Italy. And then about a week and a half after that, we have the Best of Italy tour that begins in Rome, works its way up through Tuscany to Venice, over to Lake Como in the mountain areas, foothill of the Alps, and to Milan. So we're doing all that. And then I'm doing a little exploration trip after that. Charlotte's coming over to meet me, and we're doing a little exploration trip after that down to the Amalfi Coast, the island of Ischia, and the island of Capri, and Sorrento. So we'll be back home finally around October the 22nd. So I think I shared with you guys last week that my passport expires a little bit too late, so I'm having to do a quick trip to Dallas earlier and get an appointment there with the State Department at the passport agency in Dallas on Friday morning to get my passport renewed in person. So I'm thankful that I got that going, because otherwise I wouldn't be traveling. Well, tonight we are talking about a portion of Tuscany is basically what I call the capital of Tuscany. And doing my research earlier today, I was reading my guidebook, which I wrote a few years ago about Italy. And I read that Florence was the capital of all of Italy up until the late 1800s. And I had totally forgotten about that. And I was talking just a few moments ago with Leslie here about trying to remember one of the artisans in Florence, and could not for the life of me recall his name, because I hadn't talked about him in 2 years now. But now I'm getting back on track, so we're ready to go. So tonight we're talking about Florence. I was there with my family in July of this year, and we spent, just did a day trip, but I made a point to make a video recording of all of the events that we had during the day and visiting the attractions. So we began up over the city at the Piazza Michelangelo, overlooking the city, and worked our way all the way down to the Duomo and the Accademia Museum. So I'm going to share that with you for the moment, and then we'll talk a little bit about all of the attractions and events that we had there. So let me share my screen back here again. And here we go. I'm going to stop it in a few minutes and explain to you my meal for this evening as well. So look at that. Hey, David McGuffin here. You can probably tell that we've arrived in Firenze in Florence. We're up on Piazza Michelangelo, and it overlooks the city from up here. The River Arno is below me. You can see the Duomo right back here. So we're going to take a walk through the city center along the Arno River, across the old bridge, the Ponte Vecchio, to the public square, and then to the Duomo. So I hope you enjoyed this look around today of this favorite Renaissance city known as Florence, or in Italian, Firenze.
Oh yeah.
So this viewpoint that we are at right now is called the Piazza Michelangelo. It was constructed here in the late 1800s, 1873 or so. because at that point, Florence was going through an evolution and a remodeling. And so this was built up there, and there was a statue, a bronze statue of a replica of Michelangelo's David that was brought up there as well. And so
we're taking
we were
these
beginning our trek down
walking
to the
down
river
to the Arno River from the
on these
Piazza
steps
Michelangelo.
leading down.
So this is a nice little pleasant walk downhill. But going up, I think we're going to take a taxi on the way back because it is quite a hike.
This is Piazza Poggi. Poggi is a gentleman who was the architect of making this remodeling of all of Florence. And that tower you saw was, and you'll see here again, is a tower that was part of the medieval walls fortifying all of Florence that went all the way through there. Little hint, you can see here beyond me is the Duomo. And then if we look up across the city of Florence, you can see this little hamlet in the hill right up here. It's a Fiesole, and it's a nice little escape, especially in the heat of the summer, to go up there either by taxi or by bus and visit the little town, have dinner, take a picnic, and you could have a picnic in the gardens. So it's pretty cool to do that. It's Fiesole right here in the hamlet there. Let me stop it just a second and explain to you a little bit about what I'm doing for my meal tonight. Last week I spent a lot of time showing you some cooking lessons and classes and everything, but today I'm just going to show you what we're preparing. I love to go to Tuscany and have this meal of a T-bone steak, some kind of vegetables, and tonight we're having asparagus and also fagioli, or beans. We call them cannellini beans. But let me show you the steak I got. So believe it or not, my local grocery store was able to order this in and cut it up for me. So that's about a 2.5 pound steak, a little bit more than 1 kilo is what we get in Tuscany. So 4 of us are going to eat that tonight. So Leslie and Stephen and Charlotte and I are going to be chowing down on this. And that steak, you can see, has the sirloin part of the steak here and the tenderloin part of the steak here. So that's what we're going to be cooking, along with some roasted asparagus. This recipe comes from Francis May's book, Under the Tuscan Sun, and it's really nothing. I'm going to broil it in the oven or roast it in the oven, and it's got salt and pepper and a little olive oil on it. And then the last thing I have is I've got those on the stove and cooking for a while. We can't even see it, but you want me to? Well, we can't move the camera, but it's fagioli, cannellini beans, white beans, and gosh, they smell good right now. So that's what we're doing as far as the dining goes. And then I think I've shared this wine with you guys before in the past, but it's Brunello di Montalcino. It's a total 100% Sangiovese wine. This is a Kirkland brand, which is very affordable, and it's a wonderful vintage, 2014. So that's what we've opened up and we're going to be having with dinner tonight as well. Okay, let me go back to getting this thing going here on our walk in Florence. This is the Ponte Vecchio, the old bridge. That bridge is constructed in 1340, believe it or not, and it's been standing ever since. The upper stories date from the 17th and 18th century, and there were residents up there, and this bridge was inhabited by, first of all, tanners and leather makers, and then by the time the Renaissance era came along, it became inhabited by gold and silversmiths who had their residence up top as well. And so now it's the bridge where you can go and buy anything gold or silver, pretty expensive stuff, but yet very authentic stuff in Florence. It's right on the river Arno. So here we're looking upriver. Here we're looking upriver. You notice the houses above those shops. People really live in those shops. Prime rent territory. And that's looking downriver. Benvenuto Cellini was a master goldsmith. He made rings and jewelry, and he worked in a shop right here on this bridge, the Ponte Vecchio. And so they put this statue here because this whole bridge was a place where gold and silver smiths worked and made jewelry. But it's more important because you see this fence and you see some of these locks around here. When I back in the 1990s, before you were born, this fence was loaded with locks. And the story goes that one time there was this young Italian boy who didn't have much money at all, but he did have a lock that went on the door of his little apartment where he and his parents lived. And so he brought the lock down here with his girlfriend. And he said, I don't have any money, but I'm going to put this lock on here and lock it up, and it's going to symbol that my love is locked up in your heart for you the entire time. And so he put a lock on here, locked it, threw the key in the water, so it never come off again. And so that's how the tradition of these locks began. And then a few years back, you read this sign. What does this sign say? What's that say? Railing. Or not allowed to put locks on
by the rule of the police.
So you can't put locks on them anymore because there were so many. You about scared me to death with that gas.
Well, I thought somebody had broken the rules.
Somebody broke the rule.
Hey, you couldn't breathe.
Yeah, I know. Now you put them somewhere else besides here. So, like you saw them up on the hilltop, the Piazza. So that's where their people are putting locks.
That's a shame they took off the first one that the boy put on there, and it didn't.
Yeah.
It would have been cool.
Wasn't it because of the weight of those locks?
Yeah.
I thought that
pulling
was on this bridge.
on a lot of bridges.
Yeah, like the one in Paris.
Right, there's
yeah.
one in Paris as well. But
Why they have that? I see one there.
Because they broke the law. Somebody said, "Screw it, I'm just going to do it."
right. Okay, so who's the guy? Cellini. You're going to see him in a minute. I want to show you another statue by Cellini, a master goldsmith. There's another story. Is it boring? Okay, we're now in the courtyard of the Uffizi Gallery, or the Uffizi of the Medici family, the offices of the Medici family. And down here, beyond that, is the main square, Piazza della Signoria, and the big fortress of the Medici fortress right here. Normally, this place is crowded like crazy because of entrances into this big gallery here. Let me pan around, which is some of the most famous Renaissance paintings in all the world are up here in this gallery, at the Uffizi Gallery. Now they have them outside, and there's not even a line anywhere for them to get in here, hardly. Again, I've seen more tour groups here in Florence today, small little groups. This is one. Okay, so this is crazy. So this sandwich shop was written up a few years back in a magazine as being the best sandwich shop in all of Italy. And it's probably every tourist in Florence is here right now, which isn't very many. But look at them lined up in a queue to get this sandwich. See, these girls just bought one over here. See, what's so great about it? Here you go. Here's somebody opening one up at this shop. Oh, it's a roasted pork sandwich. You can get them everywhere, all over Italy. This is one of my favorite gelaterias especially in Florence, is Uffizi. And we were actually able to sit down in the shop after we bought our ice cream and sat down and had it. It was nice and cool and air conditioned. And then just a few blocks from there is the Galleria Accademia, which is the home for the famous statue that Michelangelo chiseled out of Carrara marble of David. These are prisoners, and there's some unfinished works by Michelangelo. It's kind of left laying around because it was going to be a decorated tomb of a pope, and that never happened, so he never completed those prisoners there. But it's interesting because you can see how Michelangelo envisioned everything and just began chiseling, and after a bit of chiseling, a body evolved. This statue was in 1503, I believe, and it was his second major work, the first being the Pietà, which is in Rome at St. Peter's Basilica. The statue here you're looking at is the original statue of David, and it stood for 375 years outside in the main square of Florence by the Medici Palace, and it wasn't until 1873 that it was finally brought into this area out of the television. So you can think, 1503 to 1873 was the time outside. Speaks very highly of the Carrara marble. This is the San Lorenzo leather market. It's right at the corner of the San Lorenzo Church, which is the family church of the Medici family, the great rulers of Florence, who brought it out of the Middle Ages into the Renaissance. And here, if you've ever been to Florence, you can see there's only a few kiosks up. Only this line, shoulder to shoulder, with these kiosks sticking up, and also with people packed in between, buying all kind of leather goods from coats, boots, belts, purses, change purses, and everything in between. It was so pleasant being here in July of 2021 because there were very few tourists. This is Marcato Centrale, the central market, and on the first floor every day, the ground floor every day, except for Sunday, farmers and merchants come in and sell their wares. Okay. And then on the second floor is a big food hall. Wonderful place you can go to little kiosks and get anything from
Lillian, what you having for lunch?
Try the hamburgers, as Lillian has here, and beef steak and everything.
Cheeseburger?
It looks like it has 2 buns. But
where's the burger? Oh, got cheese on it. Okay, good. You like it?
Yeah.
Good.
You know why it's called Margarita?
You're here, doesn't it?
And then back in the main church square in town, this is the Duomo, or the Basilica Santa Maria del Fiore, St. Mary of the Flowers. And this church was, construction started on this in the late 1300s, and the dome was finally put up there. Let me check my notes here. 150 years later, it was actually, the Duomo construction began in 1296, and the dome was finally put up there in 1518 by Brunelleschi. And so this is one of the most beautiful churches that I have ever seen. You can tell that as beautiful as it is on the outside, the dome really makes it different, because this guy Brunelleschi was commissioned to put a dome up, but the people of Florence built the cathedral 100 years beforehand without a top on it. So surely someone will come along one day and be able to duplicate the dome that we saw down in Rome on the Pantheon. And so lo and behold, he did. And that's what it is. It's a dome within a dome. And that dome is just fantastic because inside you can actually climb up, and there's spiral stairs in between the two domes. There's about at least at the bottom, there's about a 6-foot distance at the bottom. But as you go up, you have to keep leaning over and over and over as you go up to the top portions of it. And it's held together with a series of chains and timbers and bricks and serpentine patterns and everything. And so it's a pretty unique feat. And after that, Michelangelo built a dome on the Church of St. Peter's down in Rome. And then our Capitol building here in the United States is modeled after that same dome, along with St. Paul's Cathedral in London and many other domes, all because Brunelleschi took time to figure out how to duplicate what had been done in the Roman era with the Pantheon there in Rome. Okay, so we're going to finish up this with a little bit of my vintage tour of the best of Florence that we filmed back in 2014. And my videographer and editor at that time and producer at the time was Abby Austin Whitaker. And I'll give her credit for that because this is just classic of what I love to do when I'm in Florence. We were in Tuscany a few days ago, and we were actually driving from Volterra up to Florence, and I decided to go a little bit off the beaten path. We had a wine tasting experience a couple of days before in Volterra, and one of the wines was a Chianti Classico wine. So I thought, well, you know, since we're driving up there, why drive on the highway? Let's go on the small road, the Chianti Road, and we'll drive through the Chianti region. We went really off the beaten path because I got off the paved road even, and we went on this dirt road way up the hills, up through the vineyards. We were right in the heart of the Chianti region. And then went on our way on to Florence. Up above Florence, there are two opportunities to see a cityscape scenic overview. One of them is where all the tourists go, to Piazza Michelangelo. I really like to venture a little further up beyond the Piazza Michelangelo and visit the church on the hill called San Miniato al Monte. From there, it's quiet. There's maybe 20 people or so up there. And you have another grand, fantastic view and overlook of the city without all the hubbub of tourists and buses and cars and everything going by. The Florence metro area is quite large. But if you just concentrate on the historic city center, you actually could walk from the Arno to, say, the Accademia, which are the two extremes of things you want to see, probably in just strolling in 30 minutes. Walking at David McGuffin pace, you could do it in 15, but you don't really want to do that. But so it's very compact, and that's why I really enjoy being in Florence. So we're going to walk down here to a couple of the markets, hit the Duomo. Well, let's go take a look around the leather market here at San Lorenzo. It's a great place to go and get goods like some leather goods, coats, belts, shoes, purses. And make sure you barter here because prices are soft and you can talk them down to a certain extent.
Beautiful every year.
Oh yeah.
Well, it looks nice.
He does a good job of showing us off. Let's see. I still wear that belt.
Yeah, looks nice.
I have a brown one and a black one I bought.
I think I'll go for the casual design.
Can I take your size? Because the belts from Italy is adjustable. Now he says a personal belt.
There you go.
Give it previous back.
Great. Thank
Thank
you
you
so
so
much.
much.
Enjoyed it. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks. Hey, I got a great belt from Florence. My goodness. No dickering at all. The Duomo is actually the Cathedral of Florence. It's called Santa Maria della Fiore, Saint Mary of the Flowers. And it was built in the Middle Ages and then capped right at the beginning of the Renaissance with the dome built by Brunelleschi, which is a big feat because nothing like that dome had ever been built from the time of the Greeks and Romans for over 1,000 years. It's possible to climb to the dome and bell tower, but they're all stepped, and there's at least 416 to the tower and more to the top of the dome. So if you get energetic and want to view, just say you already had it yesterday from the Piazza Michelangelo, right? On the agenda of every tourist in Florence is to have an opportunity to take a look at Michelangelo's grand statue of David. We use a local guide that I discovered, 15 years ago or so, and her name is Paola, and she puts a wonderful perspective, a wonderful personal perspective on the art that we see.
Our visit will concentrate on David, on Michelangelo's work, and what I would like to do with you is trying to understand why Michelangelo is Michelangelo, and why David has always been top #1 statue of the world. Let's go and have a look at the first one. He's making such a stupid mistake in making the hand and face bigger than they should. Is it by chance that exactly these two opposite parts are bigger? Or does he want to emphasize that with his hand he can kill the giant, and with the other face he's doubting to kill the giant?
What I like about Paola is that she cuts away from the dryness of facts and kind of gives a visual perception and lets you make decisions. And she makes it personal to everybody. So that's why I like hiring her as a guide here in Florence. You'll see that tomorrow as you go through the artwork at the Uffizi Gallery as well.
Now let's see if you paid attention yesterday. Oh dear. Okay? Test time. Look at the painting. I want you to tell me, is it done before or after David?
Oh, after because they're twisted.
Bravissimi, very clear, okay, after David. When we look at this,
It's not just a dry commentary. It's more of, here's maybe what the artist was thinking. Or what do you think? What do you see in the statues? What are you getting from that? What do you think the artist was thinking? And so it's a more personable and a more introspective view of the artwork. Spending the night in Florence really makes a big difference to your experience. There are a lot of tour groups that come in for the day and leave. If you stay the night and you have a leisurely dinner somewhere and then you come back, say at 8:30, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, walking down the streets of Florence, it's a totally different city. The streets are lit up, there's very few people out there. If there are, it's the locals. The shops are still open, and it's a different way to see and explore Florence. And that's why I really enjoy being in Florence, because you can, if you have a hotel right in the city center, which we do, then 10 minutes in any direction, you're right in the heart of it all.
Okay, well, I hope you got a little perception of Florence. I know some of you, or actually those of you who are watching on Zoom, I know you've all been to Florence with me and at other times and on Facebook as well. So I hope you understand and can recollect those great times that we've had together there. That kind of ends Travel Talk Tuesday on Florence for tonight. Next week, we're going to deal with the next major city up to the north is Venice. And we were there. I'm going to share my experiences being in Venice just a few months ago in July as well. One really major thing is that Charlotte and I got to take a gondola ride. We don't do that too often, but we took one and had two wonderful gondoliers, and we were on the waterways of the Grand Canal without anybody, no traffic or anything, because of the lack of tourism. And so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you next week as well. So until next week, I think we're finished up. We'll see you later. Ciao. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.